Chimaev versus Ian Garry. I got to tell you, it caught me off guard. And you want to know why? Ian Garry did an interview, and this was like in May. This wasn't very long ago. He said, the only guy I'll never fight is Luque. And just to remind you guys, they're teammates. They train out there with Henry Hoof. And whatever that gym calls itself now, it was Sanford MMA, and it was the Black Zillions, and it was something before that. And I don't know what they are now. I don't think they're either of those, but it's the same team with the same coach and the same guys in the same building. So I don't know what, they come up and change their sign or something. At any rate, I don't want to give them a hard time about it. I'm sharing openly. I don't know what that gym's called. And it's a real killer gym, particularly for 170 pounders. You got Ian Garry in there. You got Luque in there. They're teammates. You got Gilbert Burns in there. This is Kamaru Usman's original gym. There's a lot of rumors saying that he's now back or coming back there. Did I mention Rachmanov? Did I slip that name in there? So what I'm sharing for you is it is important at some point to establish pretty quick, if you think you have a future star, is he willing to compete with anybody? Particularly if you've got a factory kicking out 170 pounders. If you got one gym that's got 6 170 pounders ranked in the top 10, we got to be crystal clear right now. You guys are going to have to fight each other. This isn't one guy. This isn't your coach or mentor. He brought you up, used to sleep on his couch. This is a whole room full of dudes that weigh the same thing with the same goal that are really close, particularly within the rankings. So in that regard, I very much understand the concept of getting them together and having them compete. There's a few guys that just don't understand what we're doing here. I mean, there's a few guys that just don't understand. They will go out and win 10 out of 11 fights. Which for anybody that could fog a mirror, they would have fought for 2 world championships if they'd done that. But then there's some other guys that they don't know how to do it. They don't understand what we're doing. They're not interested in learning. They're not going to sit back. They're not going to study. They're not going to listen to advice. They're going to go in the gym and put their little ear pods on and go shadow box in the corner, right? Like, you've got guys like that. One of these guys is that guy. And the other one is Ian Garry. And I'm going to leave it at that. But Ian Garry has a skill set. And it's not just go out there and punch and kick and then say something that Conor McGregor once said in a microphone to Joe Rogan. It's not just that. He knows how to build things up. He knows how to go into a fight and build things up. I was in Boston for his last fight. He did some really incredible things. He came to a press conference and he broke bad on Neil Magny. Saw an opportunity, went with it, kept a straight face as though he really meant it and believed some of these things. It was very viable. He did a workout in a bar the night before. So he weighs in Friday morning. He's done for the day. Then you come in and do the pretend weigh-in, but he's done. Well, no, he takes matters into his own hands. He books his own PR event and goes and does a live workout in a bar that got shut down by police officers. I mean, it was great. Everything he did was great. But he also had a manufactured, legitimate appearing anger with Neil Magny. And so we're removing those things. We're taking the best parts about having Ian Garry on your card, and we're removing those things. That's where it got me by surprise a little bit. Ian's ranked 11, Luque's ranked number 10. And there's other guys in that gym that are ranked higher. Like, if that's our number one goal, is just to see, can we get 2 teammates to fight? Like, is this going to be a problem down the road? If it's going to be a problem down the road, let's just find out right now. We're all tired of finding out when a guy becomes a contender and or a champion. So let's just find out right now. And if that's what the objective was, I think that I would understand that to a pretty high degree. But if that specifically wasn't the objective, what are we doing here? How did we get here? How did we go from Ian Garry calling out Wonder Boy? Wonder Boy's on that same card against Rachmanov. Ian, Rachmanov, and Luque are all teammates. So Luque and Wonder Boy have fought, which you guys don't know that, but just trust me, they have. And it just becomes an interesting situation, right? Like, wait a minute, we're going to get Ian Garry, but Ian Garry has a commodity aside from the performance. Like, no fighter does. Fighters love to tell you how much they're worth and what their value is. They've got the same commodity. They're interchangeable mediocrities. And your only commodity is the 15 minutes or less that you spend in the cage. Well, there are exceptions to the rule. And Ian Garry is one of those exceptions, but it would seem that we're castrating him from his ability to go out and do what he does if he's fighting the one guy that he says, I don't ever want to fight because I'm friends with him. And then where will that go within that gym? Where will that go within that team? You don't generally see these things work out. Right? Jones versus Rashad, I think, was the original, but they split up. They split up, moved to not only different gyms, different states, and they never reunited. We got Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns. Kamaru went out to Colorado and stayed. I mean, it's one of these situations of why does it have to be that way? Why can't you figure it out? And I know that's a little bit more the wrestler in me than the MMA guy, but the wrestler in me, it could be your roommate. If you guys are the same weight class, you're going to go and compete for the spot. You're going to go compete for the varsity spot. Then you're going to drive back home together and make dinner. I mean, it's one of these things where it's really not that big of a deal. Then you're both going to prepare in the same room at 3 o'clock every single day. And if there's a tournament, you're going to meet up again. And if one of you gets to jump on the other one, he's going to take his singlet, take a spot away. That's the way that it goes. I've only seen it in an MMA workout one time, though. Maurice Smith was training Josh Barnett and Randy Couture. Randy was the heavyweight champion. Josh became the #1 contender. Randy kept going to the gym and getting the workouts with Maurice. And Josh would come at a different time, or sometimes they were in the same gym together, but they would separate. One would be on the left side and one would be on the right side. But they figured it out. I would like to see this get figured out. I don't know why there has to be hard feelings. I don't know why things have to change. I really don't know, but I also don't know why we'd take Ian Garry that has a very unique skill set and put him in a situation where he told us back in May, I'm not going to use that skill set.